Margalit, so lovely to talk to you at long last. Because most of the time I just kind of post things and you post things. Oh, this is a hard one for you. Yes. Now, why did I write fake Wonder Woman blocked me? Oh, because I'm going to show you who the real Wonder Woman is, but I think you already know. You already know who I'm going to talk about. But yeah, I got blocked. Hold on. This takes a little while. Real Lynda Carter has blocked me. Okay. So I'm going to show you the timeline of what happened here, okay? Now, this showed up in my feed, this picture here. Now, I'm a comic book collector. I grew up with Lynda Carter as Wonder Woman on KTLA 5 in Los Angeles when I was a child, okay? I will be 48. This is my Chinese zodiac year, but whatever. Now, I watched the Wonder Woman series from the first, like, the pilot episodes up to that confusing season 4, season 5 setup where she went to a new, that new, was it with the chimpanzee, and then you had the new kid and the new boss, and she moved to a new house. That was like all those episodes, right? Okay. And then I watched Gal Gadot and I watched, what is it, the Brady Kids and Super Friends. Okay, so that's my sort of my nostalgia. Okay. But I had to grow up and I had to grow old. Now, I look at this art, okay? Wonder Woman did this in the 1940s as well. I don't think so. And I'm going to get into it. So she says here, hashtag ice out, hashtag be good. This is not a positive picture. I'll explain why. So without highlighting anybody in particular, I'll look at these. One person has the prayer symbol and says, you remain a superhero. One person says, do you protect Americans from criminal illegal gangbangers? I would know. I live in East Los, or East Los Angeles to the rest of the country. We need her now, says one person. Another person says, imagine what we would find out if you could get the lasso of truth around Donnie. We don't need the lasso of truth. We just need to do better research. Didn't Themyscira have a border and kick out any newcomers? You can't have men on the island, so ICE has to get the men out. You get ICE female agents, which I'm sure there are. True story. First time I heard the word Nazi was from watching Wonder Woman. So when I was a kid, those episodes were a blur. It's only when I watched it on MeTV that I was more familiar with everything, the whole 1940s and 1970s. But that's, again, I grew up with the stuff, nostalgia. Where was Wonder Woman for Lake and Riley? Do you hate yourself as much as you hate all the women and children raped and murdered by the illegals you want to stroke? Well, I'm sure this person's blocked too. When you lived in Costa Rica, did you follow their immigration laws? Ooh. Now, I know that Lynda Carter, Margalit, I know that Lynda Carter was a Jehovah's Witness. And she stopped being a Jehovah's Witness because she admitted, what is it? Who am I to tell people what to believe in or what to believe? So then she stopped being a Jehovah's Witness. So this woman's had a very notorious life. Who knew Wonder Woman was a retard? I agree with you, but please don't use AI to say it. AI images are so bad for the environment. Yeah, that can be true. I somewhat disagree, but that's me. We could use our Wonder Woman now in this crazy time. No, she didn't. You're trying to equate two radically different things. That's correct. Here's an applause. Oh yeah, didn't what is his name? Morgan Freeman said it's time for a woman president. Not Kamala Harris, though I think you might agree with that. Not Kamala Harris. Retard post. You're a superhero from San Diego with love. So ice out. Lynda suit up. So you got some positives. You got thumbs up. A person of colors. Thumbs up. Heart. Fuck ice, bravo, Wonder Woman, shut the fuck up, you geriatric twat. You got a lot of positives and negatives. Wow, this is awesome. Thank you for reminding all of us that you have always been looking out for the citizens. Ice out, be good, Superwoman. Wonder Woman doesn't exist. American men, British men, French men, Polish men, Russian men defended Nazism. Never forget you were just an entertainer. That's right. As Ricky Gervais says, you take your award and you shut up and you say thank you to the people who helped you out, and that's it. Trump is a pedophile. Okay, well, show probable spam. Am I in the probable spam? Oh my God. Okay, so I'll show you the ones I wrote. Here we go. Okay, so she blocked me, so I'm not able to access the exact tweet that or post. So here's what I said. Now, I'll paraphrase as I go along because I did do a couple of misspellings here because I can be retarded like that. Okay, so here I said, Wonder. Now somebody said that somebody was defending Lynda Carter and saying, "Yeah, ICE are terrible," and that I said originally that ICE is doing. I try to remember that Lynda Carter was either lying or she no, what was that I said? The original tweet that I wrote was Wonder Woman defends women and children against rapists and murderers and offenders. Uh, she defends the women and children from violent offenders. And I said, "How dare you?" with the emoji. I was like disappointed in her. So I was upset. Okay. Now here I wrote this, and I wrote this very plainly. Okay. This was a long one. This is the last thing I wrote before she blocked me. Wonder Woman is supposed to stand for truth, just like Tulsi. Either Lynda blinds herself to the truth or she is willing lying. I have nothing to gain by lying. So either it's willful deception or she blinds herself to the truth. I am Mexican American. I am nonpartisan. I hated Trump supporters in 2016. Now I don't. Good was part of Renee Good. Good was part of a radical group of domestic terrorists, not unlike the city rioters who vandalized public property. That's a George Soros thing that I'm kind of alluding to. Without AI or any kind of deception, cameras from multiple witnesses, including the ICE agent, showed Good obstructing the road and running over the agent with her car as a weapon. He shot in defense of not only himself but for others' safety. I will also point out you never. This was to somebody who wrote me back. So somebody wrote that ICE were terrible, and I said, "No, you're being lied to. That she's lying to you." And I wrote in response to him. He shot in defense. So I will also point out that you never wrote these types of comments when Bill Clinton and Obama were president, using ICE agents for deportation. Now you hate ICE, even though when there were sex offenders, I put white guts, white guys, white women and families wanted those creeps out of their neighborhood. Remember that story of you're in law, right, Margalit? You're in legal, right? You work at courts. So you know when there's a violent offender in the neighborhood or a registered offender, okay? Everybody wants that person gone. Well, that's what the ICE agents that they're going after these guys, that's what these guys are. But they're illegals. Not all of them from Mexico. Not all of them are from Latin American or I'm sorry, Latin countries. They're from other countries that we never even heard of. And they're doing this stuff, and ICE agents took them down. Okay? So without AI, so when they were sex offenders, so people wanted those kinds of guys out of their neighborhood. Number two, it is proven that all of these men ICE have captured in Minnesota are violent offenders. And three, there are also Mexican American ICE agents. And four, felons from other countries are also captured. Again, what I've said. Again, it's another chapter of the woke celebrity saying 2 plus 2 is 9, and it's racist to contradict otherwise, and the right wing must challenge, but what must one do? Right? So, then this guy said, basically the guy says that ICE aren't full of rapists and murderers, like they didn't join to terrorize their fellow human. This woman was, if you can't understand that this woman was murdered, wait till they detain you. I'm like, I've never been stopped by ICE. And that's true. Nobody I know in my community who has the same skin color have ever been stopped. And I ask people, it just doesn't happen like that. I had protests about 2 or 3 miles from my house when the people are protesting ICE. The president's cracking down on corrupt people like Tim Walz and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and whatever that mayor is in Minnesota. So, the Minneapolis mayor. So here are my final thoughts. Let me see. What was the thing I said? Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. So my response to the guy was, I've never been stopped by ICE agents. Madam Carter has blocked me, by the way, but the TV news, Lynda, and your like-minded friends, they lied to you. Glenn Beck and Megyn Kelly can explain it better. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like because that is who I am. That's what I've always said. I have always said that. It's 2026. Do something different. Okay. So, unfortunately, and it's sad, that is the image she decided to put up. I'm not mad when someone has a different opinion, but there's a difference between saying, I like green apples and you like red apples, and saying 2 plus 2 is 9, and that's my opinion. That's not an opinion, that's misinformation. 2 plus 2 is 4. Even in the depths of space, 2 plus 2 is still fucking 4. Okay? Even in outer space, E is still equal to mc squared. Okay? The gravitational mass 1 times gravitational mass 2 is inversely proportional to r squared, which that's the most complex mathematical equation for Newton's formula that I could remember. Okay? And the left want to tell you otherwise. Now, let me tell you this. I support women's rights for abortion. I don't personally like guns, but I support other people's rights to have guns. I'm not a Christian. I don't carry the Bible. So I'm not this hardcore Republican. I've seen dirty Republicans like Chris Christie and Ted Cruz. And even like at times, who was the guy that was Ron DeSantis? I mean, like he's a good governor, but he made a terrible campaign as president. Okay. There are some Republicans I have no faith in. But right now, in 2026, the Democrats look really bad. And between those people and Soros and the television news, and right now the TV news is trying to be apologetic. CBS is like, oh, we haven't listened to our audience and we're going to start listening to people. Too little, too late. People do not trust you anymore. They don't think you're going to be honest with them. Like Dan Rather, they think you're going to pull a trick on them. Okay? I grew up with Lynda Carter as Wonder Woman when I was a kid. That was on KTLA 5. And then she stopped doing the shows. When I look back, the shows were silly, but she was a great Wonder Woman. Let me tell you who's better. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who was once one of the most devoted and loyal Democrats you ever met. And she wanted Bernie Sanders to be the president. Well, that didn't happen. She didn't get to be president either because Hillary had called her out to be a Russian asset. Well, that was awfully nice of you, Hillary. How about those emails? And she was crooked. You understand? But this woman works harder than ever. She got chickens. I know this is somebody retweeted. This woman's dedicated. This woman is dedicated. Check her out. My heart is filled with gratitude, aloha, and peace. That is Wonder Woman. And also, Kristi Noem. And Kristi Noem's out there sometimes. She's out there. Okay? Say what you will, but she's out there doing stuff. When there were people lost their homes and there were relief efforts and people needed help rebuilding their homes, Tulsi Gabbard was out there helping people rebuild homes. She was in her old clothes, in her dirty clothes, getting on helicopters and helping out because she was in the service. Kristi Noem is out there. She's not fucking around either. These are the Wonder Women. These two are the Wonder Women. Okay? They go out there while Lynda Carter acts and pretends. And this is my original post. No, Lynda, Wonder Woman protected the women and children from rapists, predators, and murderers like the men in Minnesota. ICE captured, how dare you? And that was my disappointed look. Now, Margalit, I ask two things. I ask you not to block me on Instagram or Facebook, please. And the second thing I ask you is to, I guess, look at your idol a different way. Okay? Yes, Wonder Woman stood for truth and justice, but Lynda Carter does not. Either she's a foolish woman or she is lying to people. So I stand for truth and justice, and the people who serve us also stand for truth and justice. And I know you've got children and you've got a husband, you've got a family, and I know you'd want them to be safe. As a rule, I never snitch on my fellow man. Let the ICE agents figure it out for themselves. I don't go out there looking for trouble. And I treat every day like it's my last. I make the most of every day I live. So I will softly say this time, as opposed to others, go out there and do something different.